And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ACG, where we're just a couple gamers. It's your boy Smooth, and we are back with another episode. This time, it is the LION, Like It or Not podcast, and we have another alien episode for you. We're going to give you guys the straight facts, whether you like it or not. I have my brother in the house. Tell him who you are and where to find you, my dude.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's OBD, Old Black Dude Plays. You can find me over on YouTube and on Twitch. Check it out.
You guys better go find him, because if I find out you guys are not going to follow him, but you're following me, we can't be friends. We have a lot to talk about. We have breaking news. But, you know, we are kind of unprepared today, so we're just going to kind of wing this shit. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say aliens for you right now, as of late?
First thing that comes to mind is
we have a lot to talk about.
UFOs on live stream. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
You said UFOs on live stream?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
On live broadcast. UFOs showing up on live broadcast.
Are you talking about that news anchor? The guy that was delivering his news, and all of a sudden he sees something crazy?
Yeah, exactly. The guy, he's doing his daily thing on the news, and he sees a UFO, and he actually points it out right there live on the news that it's crossing the sky. Crazy.
Do you want to show them that, well, first of all, I want to say this. The last time we talked, you said if they don't say something soon, they don't disclose some kind of evidence soon, then things are going to start to happen where people are going to start to see stuff that they can't ignore anymore, that they can't cover up. One of those things automatically pops off a couple days later. I don't think that's a coincidence. And if you guys watched the news growing up, you guys know that there's always traffic cams and all types of cams that are showing you the city from different angles. This is the first time I've seen anything like this. This thing is moving at such a high rate of speed, even at a distance. Like, if you guys remember, even as young kids, you can look up at the sky and you can see those jets. They're so tiny and they look like they're moving so slow. This thing was so tiny, but it was moving at a speed those jets that we see in the sky could not even dream of. And not only that, it was moving at Superman, for whatever reason, is always flying at an angle. It was flying kind of at an angle, and then it shoots up for real like an angle. And then it evens back out again. But it definitely for sure was moving not like a regular aircraft. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
If you have that video, we can pull it up.
Okay, yeah, let me see if I can share it on my screen. One second. Let me know if you can see it.
Are you putting it on Discord?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Let me try something.
I saw it.
You saw it? Okay, it's there.
Yeah, I saw it pop up.
Okay, it's there.
I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Now, before we get to this next story, we just have to say that we don't really like reporting on UFO stories.
We don't, but something captured on one of our News 4 sky cams last week, there it is right there, is now taking social media by storm. News 4's Spencer Humphrey goes in search of answers as to what might be.
You can clearly see that thing, even moving at that distance, moving at that speed from that distance, when they back that camera out so you can see how far away they're actually looking at that thing, that's scary, dude. That's crazy fast.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it play because it'll kind of show you the newscaster it'll kind of get to the point where it'll show you where he was live on TV. He saw this and was actually pointing it out. I guess.
I start seeing this object, and it's flying faster, moving faster than anything I've really observed out there.
It just didn't make sense.
It's going down. It's moving really quickly. It's bright. It's got some light to it, and I kind of called attention to it. Pretty interesting. Moving really fast. Okay.
He posted the clip online.
Yeah, and then he posted the clip online. And after he posted it online, then they had to do a follow-up
Aaron must have caught a
story on this.
in action. Dozens of commenters chimed in with theories too. It must
What do you
be
mean they did a
aliens.
follow-up story?
I'm gonna say, so everybody can't hear it, but so what happened was after he saw this was live on TV, it was posted on social media. It got so much attention on social media. The news the next day did a follow-up story where they interviewed a few people, and most people said they didn't know what it was. Specifically, a pilot said it wasn't a plane and it wasn't a helicopter. He didn't know what it was. The reason why I bring this to everybody's attention is the last person they talked to on the follow-up story concluded that the object in the sky was a bird, right? And if you look at it here, it says it looks like a bird to me, flight movements, right?
How?
So the pilot clearly said that it's moving too fast to be a helicopter and a plane, right? He didn't. That was the reason he said it wasn't a helicopter and it wasn't a plane. That was the main reason it was moving too fast, along with the movements, right? But yet, it's moving slow enough to be a bird. And so the last person they talked to on the follow-up news story concluded that this object that the newscaster pointed out live on TV was a bird. And so it does not make any sense to me.
You said they concluded
How-
it was a bird?
Yes. They concluded at the end of the news story, they concluded that it was a bird. That they didn't say officially it was a bird, but that's how the news story left it. With the last person they interviewed and talked to concluding it was a bird, and specifically ruling out any type of alien activity, specifically ruling out that this was a UFO, and specifically saying that this had to be a bird, and that the illumination in the clouds was caused by the bird flapping its wings.
Hogwash. Okay. Now that's interesting, right? And I want to save the best for last. When we talk about these aliens, I want people to understand that this is no longer a well, what if they are real, right? This is a they are real scenario here. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys the video here in a bit. But one thing that I will reveal to you guys right now, new evidence revealed, I've seen it with my own eyes. They have a cloaking device on their spaceships. Now, you know, there has been talk about there's different races of aliens. Do you believe that?
I'm not sure. It's believable based on a lot of other things I've heard, but I'm not sure how much 100% believe it.
Well, the reason I ask is because I'm starting to believe that the reason we're seeing so many different types of spaceships is we are seeing different races of aliens. Now, hear me out. We are not advanced enough to understand how to even contact these beings. At least not to our knowledge, right? Not civilian knowledge. But if these other races were able to contact each other and interact with each other and communicate with each other, then that would be why we're not seeing them shoot each other out of the sky and this and that, right? Also, people have said a theory, and I want to get your thoughts on this theory. Do you think that if your species survives long enough, you would understand that war and all of that is counterintuitive to a successful, thriving civilization. So you would just be peaceful, and that's why we're not seeing them shoot each other or shoot us? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think at some point you advance to the point where everybody's actually on the same page in progressing society. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever the alien society is, they probably don't have people who, you know, they probably don't have the same issues that plague our society. Everybody in their society is more likely on the same page. I imagine when you're, as a race, you know, the longer you exist, the more, you know, I guess, enlightened the people become.
That makes sense. And there's a lot of theories that we can explore over time, but I do want to keep talking about some of this new evidence that was released. And also maybe any other videos that you've seen lately, because I know that you're just as plugged in, if not more than I am. Are there any other videos that have come out lately, or just any that off the top of your head pique your interest the most?
There are some videos that came out from NASA recently. That's pretty much it.
Are you talking about the same ones I'm talking about with the cloaking device?
Yeah. NASA recently released some images or some videos from some of the space station, and
Okay.
it seems to show UFOs.
I'm so glad that we actually get to talk about this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, I want you to understand something. NASA, for as long as you can possibly believe, as long as you can go back and remember as an American citizen or just a citizen anywhere in the world, NASA has always said, we have no evidence at all that any type of life exists beyond Earth. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. We've done all types of missions up in space, this and that. Elon Musk himself has even, and this guy's got satellites, right? So if there's two organizations on this planet that definitely have evidence and have had evidence of life out there, it would be these two organizations, SpaceX and NASA. But NASA has been around since the very beginning, really, for us. And so why do you think it is that they finally decided to release the footage?
I think there was pressure from different departments in the government. I think the only reason they released it is they had to feel some kind of pressure to release it, because they've held on for how long? Like I said, they've been around for how long, and they've had these things. I mean, some of the videos that they released were old as from like the 80s, like 90s.
Yeah, guys. Like the videos that were released by NASA, they are old as hell, some of them. And so this changes everything historically that we know. We have to go back and reevaluate things. So we're talking about the original moon mission, right? The moon landing. When they came back, they looked visibly sick, like they wanted to throw up. And a lot of people were talking about how, they probably, it's just the gravity and this and that, and their body's getting used to coming back to Earth. But if you guys think about it, now that we know that NASA knew then, and there was some actually voice recordings that were released, and you can hear some of them. I believe one of the astronauts said they're back, or there they are again, or something like that. And then they said, I think they said angels. Didn't they say something about angels, guardian angels, or something like that?
Yeah, may have said something about that.
Well, in the voice recordings, these astronauts definitely were saying stuff, and so the NASA cut their mics. They cut the feed to the astronauts' mics, so you could only see the astronauts, but you couldn't hear the rest of the conversation. But that conversation got released as well, and you can hear them saying about, oh, they're back again. And but here's the thing. I would be sick to my stomach too, and I would look the exact same way if I trained to go to the moon, and all of a sudden these spaceships are there, and I'm seeing these things. And then on top of that, you have to keep it a secret. So this does change a lot of things. Anything else that I mean, because can we talk about the pyramid, the Black Pyramids?
Yes, we can talk about the Black Pyramids. For anybody who see my screen on the show, the Apollo 11 astronauts, this is just part of the news conference. Came back, nobody's excited or anything like that. Nobody's smiling, nobody's cheering, nobody gave a high five, nobody kissed their wife. None of that stuff was going on. It was just very somber. So,
the guy on the left, all the way on the left, which would be their right. Him for sure.
But yeah, the Black Pyramids. The Black Pyramids are very, very. I'm going to pull another video showing maybe the Black Pyramids. But even actually, but man, this stuff is so interesting, man. So the Black Pyramids is something I've heard about here and there, but never really gave any validity to, right? And then I saw a video where this object showed up over top of the Pentagon, and some people recorded it. Okay, well, pretty CGI, something like that. But then there's another video of the same object, a different angle, taken by somebody else. And when you start seeing stuff like that, it starts to be a little bit more believable. And to go even further, there's an even older video from Moscow showing the exact same object over top of a building in Russia. And so what is that?
I think personally, bro. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I'm just going to put it up on screen so hopefully everybody can see.
I think personally that pyramids hold more substance in alien lore than any other man-made or non-man-made structure on Earth. There's even supposedly pyramids in certain parts of the ocean that they found, which is just crazy to me. If you look at the dollar bill, right, there's a pyramid on the dollar bill, and it's not only a pyramid, but it's a black pyramid. There's been all types of footage of floating pyramids and all over the place, man. Egypt, right? And and what's really crazy, and what? I don't need to get the credit. A lot of the times, people say things in life like, "Hey, this football team's gonna win by 21," right? And then they win, and it's like, okay, that's cool. But I'm talking about, dude, I have always said that aliens had something to do with the pyramids, and what I honestly believe is that there was a civilization that was alive at one point all over Earth at the same time period, in the same time period, and they were seeing these black pyramids. They might have even landed, and I think that obviously these civilizations would worship these pyramids and whatever came out of these pyramids, right? Maybe they gave them knowledge, which I honestly believe. Maybe something happened with these sky gods, and that's why they built these pyramids. Why did they build these pyramids? Because they worshipped these. This was magic to them. They probably mated at some point, and that's why we saw the long-headed alien race, or not alien race, but the Egyptian race, right? I think that's why we saw that in pharaohs, and that's why you see that in the hieroglyphics in Egypt. But we could go on and on about this. But when it comes to these black pyramids, they're the ones that get talked about the least. Why do you think that is?
honestly have no idea because because they seemingly because we pay attention to UFO stuff all the time, and for me, this is just now showing up on my radar. Like I said, I kind of disregarded it in the past, but even then, it hasn't been that long that it's been on my radar, right? So this is something that I'm not sure why.
Okay, so check it out, right? And this might be crazy to say this, but what if there is a pecking order in the spaceships that we're seeing? You know how, like, on Earth we have Chinese people, we have black people, we have white people, we have Japanese people, right? We have Middle Eastern people, right? What if there is that, and there's just a pecking order as far as like who does what? Maybe those black pyramids are the higher ups. That's why we don't see them as much. That's why we don't hear about them as much, right? Because like the ones that are in charge, you're not seeing them. They're not working the front desk, right? They're not down here doing the grunt work, which to me kind of makes it a little bit creepier.
Yeah, it is kind of creepy that we don't. I mean, how? I really don't see how you could have this black pyramid sitting over top, multiple angles, video from multiple angles, and they never hear about it, especially as I'm paying attention to the UFO stuff all the time.
Yo,
So
something very creepy about what?
It seems to be that they're making a much greater effort to hide this.
I agree. No, I agree. And it makes sense because, again, Egypt is like the beginning of civilization almost. So to see pyramids there, I don't know. It's something very... And then imagine a pyramid but upside down. That is even creepier. That is
wild.
A black pyramid upside down is creepy as shit. Okay, so what are they showing on TV on your screen right there?
Okay, so this is an interview of a policeman and children. A UFO landed in the UK in 1967. Parents and the children clearly saw it. They called the police. The police went out there and sent the kids back home and investigated the situation. When they actually interviewed the policeman, he denied seeing anything, denied believing in aliens, and pretty much denied the whole thing. The reporter actually did do a good job. He started pressing the policeman on if there was nothing going on and nothing to see, then why were they so adamant to get the children away from the area? He did give a good answer, just saying the parents wanted them to come back. But why did the parents want them to come back? So, you know what I'm saying? They saw something.
Okay. So the reports were saying that exactly what they saw, which was what?
They saw a bright light and then it basically turned into a traditional UFO saucer, and it landed in the field.
Okay. So, did they collect any evidence or anything?
Not that they said. They didn't say they collected any evidence. But if they did, I don't think that was something they would have reported. The kids that they interviewed didn't say that they collected any evidence, but they specifically said everybody saw it, including the police. They specifically said the police saw it.
But the police never gave a statement saying that they saw it.
Right. The police, basically their statement was that it was misidentified. There was some misidentified light.
What?
Yeah, I have to go back and play with the sound. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
That's a cover-up.
Oh, for sure.
These kids had no reason to lie.
No reason to lie. And they didn't interview their parents because I believe they didn't interview their parents because their parents would not have lied. And if you interview the parents, that's credibility. You interview the kid, you can interview kids all day long and people won't believe, you know. But if you children, and they both say what they saw, and then the police say that they didn't see it. Now you have an issue. But if you only interviewed the children, and then the police deny what the children were saying, nobody's going to believe the children over the police.
Bro, those children have no reason to lie at all. They have nothing to gain.
No reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Children have no filter. Like they have no, like they say what they see. Like you can't, when a kid says something, like it's probably true.
Okay. Look, I don't want to get too far off track because there needs to be some accountability. Let me ask you a couple questions when it comes to this newly released evidence from NASA. For me, when you go all the way back, like I said, to like you said, the Apollo mission, they knew what was going on. Right? They weren't just sending these astronauts. I mean, they were sending the astronauts in blind, probably most likely. I can't imagine that these astronauts are strapped into the rocket, getting ready to get shot up into space, thinking that they're about ready to see aliens for the first time and they might, never come home type stuff. Like, dude, I would be... I will be screaming the whole way up. There's no way. I'm not going into space where there's UFOs and she didn't know. What? I didn't sign up for this. That's exactly what I would have told them. I didn't sign up for this. So, to me...
Then they pull out the paperwork and show you where you signed up for it.
Yo, listen. I mean, okay, I could be wrong. But let's just go with the fact that they didn't know. All right? They weren't telling nobody. And whatever happened up there... let's say Lance Armstrong or whatever, he's up there and he's like, is it Lance Armstrong or Neil Armstrong? I'm sorry, I'm really smoked out.
Neil Armstrong, I believe.
Neil Armstrong. Okay, so Neil Armstrong is up there and he's like, Houston, there is a big ass spaceship behind me, and they're like, it's okay. It's okay, just focus on the mission. What? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. All of a sudden, he just starts hyperventilating. Bro, no, I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but let's just go with the fact that America didn't know, the world didn't know the whole time they're doing these missions out in space, right? So now that NASA releases this evidence, here's the first question to OBD. Do you think that the next time they do a congressional hearing, they're going to bring up all of this evidence? That's the first question. And then the part two of this question is, if they do bring it up, should America hold NASA accountable and our government accountable for not telling us this information sooner? And or should we at the very least get an answer as to why they didn't tell us until now? So that's a two-part question.
Yeah, so in the next congressional hearing, I don't think you talk about the NASA stuff. I don't think they'll bring up the NASA stuff. I really don't. Because then you have to go down that path which you just described. Like, if you bring that stuff up, I don't think you have a choice but to go down that path which you just described as far as how holding people accountable. So if they bring it up, then we can probably assume that they're going to go down the path of trying to hold people accountable. And if they don't, then they're not going to go to the path. That's one. I mean, crimes have been committed for sure regarding this topic. That's what I've been hearing. Crimes have been committed. It's just, do we want people to pay for those crimes, or do we just want the information out?
Well, the reason I bring that up is because they haven't. They've been saying for a long time. They haven't been saying it's aliens. What they've been saying is it's unidentified. It's unidentifiable phenomenon. We don't know whose it is, right? Which they're basically putting it out there in the universe that it could be China, could be Russia, but two things haven't happened. Number one, we haven't seen any type of aggression. There's no videos of them being aggressive. So that's number one. Number two, they have, besides speed, they have and no visible signs of propulsion. They haven't showed any other type of technology wise, like as a weapon, right? As like a something that you would use for war, something that would be. Hold on a second. Are you ready for this? A matter of national security, right? So like they haven't done anything that the government can say is a matter of national security. Like we're at risk, our people, right? Until
right.
I was just gonna say until they went invisible. Until that happened and I saw that changes everything. Dude, they could be literally right behind me right now listening to what we're saying because they're right above this tree right here. Because I saw it with my own eyes. That bitch went invisible. So that to me, we can bring that up now. Now we got something to talk about. This is a matter of national security. We are at risk because they could be anywhere.
Did it go invisible though?
What?
Because I said, did it actually go invisible though? Because I remember hearing a reporter ask a question to Representative Luna. She was on the UFO task force, and they asked a question about where they come from, and she said it's important to remember that Grush specifically said that they could be interdimensional, and that's coming from a congressperson, like, putting that out there. That so
bro, no,
it did look 100%. It did look like it went invisible. It looked like some kind of quilting text. That's what it looked like to me.
That's even scarier, bro. No, because that's even scarier. Because I think to go into different dimensions, I think that's a completely different type of technology. We're not talking about just being fast. We're not talking about some type of cool technology that you figured out how to make that made you go invisible. You're talking about going into a completely different dimension, that's what type of technology do you even have to do that?
Well, imagine, and this goes way into the realm of speculation and possibility. But imagine if you're not from this dimension. Right? I'm just saying, what if they're not from this dimension?
Explain like the significance of that though.
Then we have no idea what's possible in the other dimension, right? So you're talking about like there's one dimension, right? Two dimensions, and we live in the third dimension, right? Right? And scientists theorize that there's up to 12 different dimensions, right?
Right.
And if you think about, and the way I think about it is I think about it in shape, right? I think about it in plane, right? Right? 2 dimensions is the flat plane, right? Where you draw on. Right? 3 dimensions is a 3D plane, right? Which is where we are. We're 3D being, right? We see it 3 dimensional, right? What is 4D? 4D, we're 3D beings, so we can't even comprehend what 4 dimensional is. It's like what is the square from the Avengers? The blue square. What is it? I can't remember what it's called. But that's a 4-dimensional object, right? So so we can't even see. We have no idea what, right? If they're 4-dimensional beings, then how would we be able to see them? Would we see in 3D? Basically, what I'm saying.
So, I play games that allow you to be in not first person but third person point of view. And then you can switch it to like God mode, which is like you're over top of everything. You can like scroll through the city and all that other shit. You can move any direction and view any direction. Would it be like that? Like we are down in like first person to third person point of view, and we can't even we don't have the camera angle to look up and down and all that shit.
No, it even goes beyond that. It goes to like if you saw in only 2 dimensions, right? So take a flat piece of paper, right?
Right.
On a flat piece of paper, if somebody who only saw in 2 dimensions if you took a sphere, this is an example that I've seen before. Somebody explained before, so I'm trying to re-explain it. So bear with me. a piece of paper, right? But
Okay.
there are beings on that piece of paper that only see in two dimensions, which is that flat plane, that piece of paper, right? They can't see up. They can't see down. They
Right.
can't see left. They can't see right. They can only see that flat plane, right? If you have a sphere, right? If you have a sphere, right? The only way they will see that sphere, for them to see that sphere in their dimension, you would have to put that sphere on the paper, right? And you would have to put the sphere through the paper, right? They would never see the sphere. All they would see is a circle on the piece of paper. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They will never see the actual sphere because they can only see in two dimensions. They can only see a circle.
Right.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, right? That may be what we're dealing with, right? We can't see in four dimensions, so we can only see a triangle.
That's crazy.
We don't even know what we're looking at. Right? If we're talking about other dimensions, right? Because a triangle is a three-dimensional object. What is a triangle in four dimensions? We can't even comprehend that shape
What the heck?
because we only see in three dimensions, right?
Hold on. Is it possible that our whole world is shaped in a certain dimension and we can only, is that why we only have certain shapes? Because we can only see those shapes in our dimension? Like if we were in a different dimension, we would be able to, our shapes would look different. Everything would look different.
In a higher dimension, the shapes would be different.
What the fuck? Yo! Shut the front door. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
Yo.
because just like we can see down dimension, right? Because we can see squares, right? We can see the flat objects, right? And then we can see the 3D objects, right? But we can't see the 4D. We can't see the next scale up.
Do germs live within our dimension? Like, do germs live within like our laws of physics?
Makes you think. Like, why is it so hard to catch a fly?
Yo.
But yeah, like it makes you think. Like, what level of existence what level of existence in a different dimension? Like, is it possible that we see beings that are in lower dimensions that don't see us? Right? Because like ants, do they see us? Like right?
There's no way. I think they see shadows. Like I think they see like our shadows and like because like I've seen ants scatter when they see like shadows.
Right. So what are we seeing? What's one of the type of aliens that people see? Shadow people. Right? We can't see like we're like ants to them. Like what?
Yo, that's
something around.
wild. That's wild.
Right? When you stomp on the ground, right, the ants just start running. They don't know which direction to run. They just start running, right? Because all they feel is the vibration on the ground. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, crazy. There's no danger. They just get scared, right?
Nah, that's wild. I'm just sitting here thinking in my head. I'm like, dude, everything changes now, but we've been so conditioned to believe that it wasn't real for so long that all the events that have happened over the years, you lose track of it. But if my brain was a hard drive and I had just kept taking every single one of these videos and every single one of these news reports and every single one of these interviews that were done by detectives and police officers, and you put them all together, you had all that information, you would be Bob Lazar. You know what I'm saying? Like you would have enough information where you could definitively say, this is real. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, we have this. I've worked on, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I just I wish I had all of that You ever see like those crazy conspiracy nuts and they've got like 200 newspaper clips up on their all over their walls? I wish I had that, because then knowing what I know now, what was just released, I can go back and I can go, okay, how does this evidence here apply to all of these cases? And then you might be able to actually come to some conclusions. But it's scattered for me. So does anything come to mind? Okay, what about Betty and Barney Rubble? I mean, not Hill. Betty and Barney Hill. I said Betty and Barney Rubble. Like we're in the Flintstones, bro. Betty and Barney Hill. Does that change anything for you?
I don't 100% remember their story.
Okay, so just going off of what I remember, husband and wife, they were out somewhere fancy. They were out somewhere on the town. They're on their way home. It's kind of late. It's dark. I want to say their dog was with them, maybe. But I will say they're in the car, and all of a sudden they see something, and then Barney gets out, Betty gets out, and all of a sudden they're back, right? But when they're back, they had, like, she had a rip in her dress. They had, like, mud on them. A bunch of hours had passed. Like, time had passed. And they didn't have anything real solid to go on as far as, like, evidence to prove what had happened. But they drove home just very, very confused. And I think also their car, when they came to, when they regained consciousness or whatever, their car, they were in a completely different area or something like that. Like they had drove like a hell of a distance as to where they started. And so when they get home, again, they're still very confused. They had taken their clothes off, and they decided to report it to the police. When they tested the dress and I think some of the other clothes, there was like some type of chemical or some type of residue from something, and the radiation was like off the charts on like the car and like certain items. It was definitely a very weird story, but for UFO nuts, that's one of the ones that people really, it stands out for them. They're like, I believe this.
Yeah, I remember Joe Rogan talking about it. He's saying kind of hard to get by that one because of just all the consistencies with it. So I just haven't. I'm not real.
Yeah, for me, instances like that, and then what's the other guy? I always forget his name. They made the movie Fire in the Sky about him.
Travis Wall.
There you go. I feel bad for people like that and Travis, because the evidence is there, bro. And now that this is real, I think that as someone that's always believed, and now I can say like, wow, I was right. We were right as a community of believers. We were right. I think we owe it to these people. These people whose lives were probably ruined, bro. It's different today to talk about it than it was back in the 60s, back in the 70s, even the 80s, right? Before they started making movies and like it got popular. But back in the day, if you were in the military or the police officer or somebody in a government official and you said that you saw an alien or you believed in aliens, like, you were immediately, number one, not taken seriously. Number two, probably fired because they think you're crazy. And so I'm just saying, I think that we need to go back and look at these cases that happened during these time periods when this was a big cover-up and we were being lied to. And I think we owe it to these people to look at their cases and go, okay, if they're telling the truth, what does this mean for the rest of us? That's all I'm saying. And if I could go in front of the Congress or the president or whoever, that's what I would say. Like, if nothing else, can we at least talk about what happened in the past and clear up some of these cases?
Right. I wonder how far back the cover up goes.
I think it's worth a look, and I think, like I said, these people deserve it.
Yeah, for sure. 100% agree. I just think my opinion is we just really have to start having the conversation more and more regularly, because if, like I said, in the last probably 2 months, I've seen at least 10 situations where there was a UFO off on a live broadcast somewhere. And the frequency to me is so much that we're getting to the point that there's going to be an event that's going to be undeniable to the public. And you know, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be around. I don't want to be around when that happens. Some people will be able to handle it, and some people won't be able to handle it. So it's best if.
Yeah, but when you say there's an event, I mean, why? Okay. You know what? But before we even get to that, I'm gonna try and circle back. But why is it that when the government says you can't own a gun if you're a felon, then everybody does it, right? Everybody follows that law. If they say that you can't be a certain age until you drive because the government says so, okay. If you can't be a certain age to drink, okay. You can't have sex with a certain person, and if they're of this age, right? How come all of these laws, when the government says so, they don't even question it? But when the government comes out and says we have an alien problem, you like, I mean, dude, I've talked to people and they'll just look at me and go, "That's not real. Like, get out of here." Yeah, right. Like, dude, like they're not. It's a movie. It's to them, it's a movie. It's make believe. Even now, why is that?
I'm not sure why that is, and that's the reason. And that's the reason why I think we should have the conversation with people, because to me, it's like a switch in your head, right? Like, there's a switch that just hasn't been flipped. You for whatever reason, even the government coming out and acknowledging the fact that UFOs are flying around in impunity through the airspace, right? Even the government, the Pentagon, even though you have congressional hearings on it, you still don't believe it. There's a switch in your head that is not being flipped, right? There's like a fight in a flight, right? Mm-hmm. And for some reason, that switch is broken. Like, there's a danger switch, right? It's not necessarily danger, but there's a switch that people have. You know, that have you ever not been paying attention to anything going on around you, and then you hear something and you perk up? You didn't hear anything they said except for the one thing that was important. Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Yes.
It's like right. You can't repeat anything they said before then or almost after that. But that one thing that caught your attention, it may have been relevant, it may have not been relevant, but it caught your attention for a reason, right? Yeah. These people don't have that.
That's so crazy.
I don't know what it is, but these people just don't have that ability to understand that something is going on, or they're willing to wait until it's confirmed by what? I'm not sure. They're willing to wait till it's confirmed by something else. I don't know what they're waiting for it to be confirmed by, because the government and the Pentagon and the Congress is just confirmed.
I don't know what they're waiting for either, but you're right. I think now, if anything, now is definitely the time to start breaking people in. You know, little by little, the way they desensitized us to violence, and the same way they desensitized us to getting away with doing whatever the hell they want as the government. You know, they've conditioned us for a lot of things. So I think now is the time to slowly start ripping off that Band-Aid, because you're right. If some type of event happens, okay. So yes, now that we talked about that, you said if you guys are just now coming in, you guys missed it. OBD said, some type of event is gonna happen, and people aren't gonna be ready for it. Number one, this is another two-part question before we get out of here. Number one, what type of an event do you think might happen? And number two, what do you mean by people not being ready for it?
Okay, so I don't really know what type of event might happen. There's different types of events that happen. I'm just gonna guess a mass sighting event, right? I'm just gonna guess a mass sighting event that is just so unexplainable that the government has to make a statement on it, right? Almost kind of like we almost got to that point with the New Jersey drone, right? This was a mass sighting event of who knows what. We never really got answers to that. But maybe that was, I don't know what that was, but that's what I mean, a mass sighting event or maybe a crash. I mean, I don't know, but the way these things are flying around in the sky, and the news people are seeing them live on air, the way, when they were covering the fires, there was many sightings live on air of, unexplained aircraft. So that I just think something like that will happen where too many people will see it and it'll be undeniable to the public. I can't really specify what that is. And what was the other part to the question?
Yeah, the other part is, oh God, sorry, I already had another question for you ready to go. The original question, golly, bro, I'm so
all right, you're good. You're saying,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I asked you. The first question was what type of an event, and the second question was what did you mean when you said that they wouldn't be ready for it?
Okay, I just mean they won't know what to do. How their whole world is going to change. I mean, so when people are put into stressful situations, when people are confronted by things they've never had to confront before, there's a switch that gets flipped in your brain, right? And there's no telling how people will react. Okay, so during COVID, right, a lot of people didn't want to believe that there was an actual virus going around affecting people and killing people, right? When the government actually shut everything down and people had to stay home, right, you actually found out that a lot of people were crazy because they couldn't actually sit home, right? These people couldn't sit home. They showed themselves, right? Like they were just, there's a switch that gets flipped, and if there's a mass sighting or a mass event that the public now knows aliens are real or UFOs are real, it's kind of hard for me to believe that everybody with as much mental health going on in this country, with problems with mental health going on, it's hard for me to believe that nobody's going to snap. Right? Just because of the fact that this exists, but also on the fact that they've ignored it this whole time. Some people might snap on the fact that they've been lied to. There's a whole list of things that will go through people's brains that can cause them to just snap.
That's very true. That's very true. I've said it, and I don't want to get too far into it because our next episode, the existence of aliens and what it means for religion. This for me has always been the number one thing that I said was going to tip the scale. Like, I'm sorry, but even no matter how much time goes on, you can't erase the past. And the past tells you the same thing it tells me. Many, many wars have been fought over religion. And so this is going to this for maybe not for the rest of us, but for a lot of people whose whole entire lives have been based around there is no higher power. Aliens cannot be real because it would say so right there in the Bible. There's a lot of things that, the existence of aliens when it comes to religion, guys, there's a lot to talk about. But I think that those people are going to be the first ones to go crazy. Let's just be real. I think that they're not going to be, their brain's not going to be able to comprehend it. And so, I've even heard people tell me that if aliens are real, it's too scary for them. They don't want to live anymore. Point blank, period. They don't want to live anymore. I've had people tell me this, and I'm just like,
it could be nice,
huh?
It could be nice,
bro. Like,
you don't even want to find out.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not dying until we get some answers.
So for me, I really do think that those are the ones you got to watch. You got to watch those ones, and just as obviously the ones that can't take excitement too well.
Very true.
But I got one last question before we get out of here, bro. Why is it, do you think, that we're now seeing them just so much, so often, like just so out in the open, so blatant, like just so like carefree? Why now?
The only thing that makes sense is this is not the only thing that makes sense, but my theory is that somebody in the government has done something or has something that they may want back, or maybe, doing something, maybe, or maybe, I have no idea, to be honest. Maybe it's just, I have no idea.
I mean, it worries me a little bit, to be honest. And I had a theory about the drones, that maybe it is our best technology, and we were using that because maybe they got word, or they knew that there was some type of alien presence there. So that was us. That was our boys, and using drones to try and search for it or something. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying. I don't know why we're seeing them either, but I do think your theory is probably spot on. I do want to say thank you so much to everybody who came out tonight to support us. Thank you, OBD, my dude. You always have some amazing insight, and I'm very excited to do another episode with you, my dude. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Only thing I gotta say is stay looking up in the skies.
Absolutely, man. I always will. And I hope you guys do too at home. If there's anything you guys want us to talk about, drop it in my comments, or go look up Old Black Dude Plays on Twitch and YouTube. Check out his content, and leave it in his video comments as well, guys. Let us know if there's any topics you guys want us to cover, anything you guys want us to talk about, and most importantly, if there's anything you guys have to say about the episode that you guys just watched. I'm very excited to continue this journey, and if anything, thank you to the UFOs and the UAPs, or whatever the hell you want to call it, for giving us such great content. I honestly think that what OBD said tonight is legitimate. I think there is going to be some type of an event. And like he said, man, just keep looking up at the stars. Peace. Yeah, YouTube's not going to push this. They don't want it out there that bad yet.
Oh yeah, sure. I forgot to turn off my recording.
You said you